It is time for This Week in Location-Based Marketing, episode number 45. From Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, my name is Rob Woodbridge from Untether.tv. You can find that obviously at Untether.tv. You can find me at Rob Woodbridge on Twitter. And with me as always from Toronto, Ontario, Canada is Mr.
Asif Khan from the Location-Based Marketing Association, and you can find me at Asif R. Khan or at the LBMA on Twitter. And yeah, another busy week.
Asif, man, so you can find Asif in Toronto because he's just returned from his European jaunt. It's like kind of like Asif's European holiday, isn't it?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. Well, we got more stories than we've had in a while. We got some great activity when it comes to big acquisition, great funding story from Toronto, and of course our product and our resource of the week, and a lot mixed in there. Even a plug for virtual goods, which I bet you Goala is just kicking themselves right about now. But before we get into the news, let's talk about your trip. Let's talk about what went down in Amsterdam and London, the two events that the LBMA hosted out there.
Yeah, I mean, it was really, kind of we did one event in Amsterdam a few months back, but this was kind of bringing the community together and kind of just continuing to push the ball forward for the LBMA in the European market. And, I was pleased with both events. I mean, we had, solid content represented there in Amsterdam. We had speakers from Heineken and Choreo and Scotch and Soda on the retail side. We had some local research presented from the Media Intelligence Lab in the Netherlands and Clarion. So, I mean, it was really good. Fantastic discussion. And the same, I can say exactly the same thing in London. Unbelievable amount of data and well presented from O2 on what they've been doing with priority moments and some stuff that I just had no clue that they were doing that's coming down the pipe in terms of how they're moving into the homes and syncing up local ads and content on television and all kinds of crazy stuff. So yeah, just really good to see that coming along. And the follow-up from that, just one last comment on it is we're looking at going back. Our next set of events will be in February in Europe, and the London event in particular, we're targeting pulling together some content on application of location-based marketing for the Olympic Games that's coming up. So we'll see where that goes, but it should be a lot of fun.
Don't you find though when you go to these events, I'm immersed in this industry. It's really, I'm much more on the mobile side, but I dive into the location base, obviously, with you, and the two are so tightly intertwined.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always surprised when I go somewhere and I get inundated with these brand new companies or brand new ideas, and I'm always surprised. And I guess I shouldn't be, and I guess you shouldn't be. But
no.
Whenever I hear you say, well, I didn't know what they were doing, or I hadn't a clue what this company. It always makes me think, man, this is so global. This is changing at such a pace that who in their right mind could keep up with this stuff?
Well, and that's the thing too, right? I mean, the one thing I heard consistently in both Amsterdam and London from folks that were in the audience that came up after the events were over and kind of said, thanks for doing this, thanks for putting this on, But the consistent message is we kind of get so bogged down in what our company, our individual company is doing, or what's happening in the local London market or Amsterdam market, and competing there, and trying to win business and clients. We have, we don't have the time. We don't even look across the pond to see what's going on or get ideas or inspiration. So, they certainly appreciate what we're trying to do from that perspective. In terms of,
I think that's one of it's a clear indication that the LBMA is needed, right? That's just one of those things that it's just you have to have some kind of place where you can find out what is going on in this space, and maybe that's what we try to do here. But we only touch 5 or 6 stories a week, and there's probably 50 or 60 stories a week that we could touch, right?
Easily. So, but we got some good ones this week. So.
Yeah, well, let's dive into it. 6 big stories, big nuggets that we think that you should know about today. The first one, not much to say about this. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. We'll see how it goes. But Groupon launching their Groupon Rewards, which they think is the third piece of a puzzle to create some kind of loyalty, customer loyalty for the Groupon crowd. Let's talk about this thing.
Yeah, I mean, so this is, as you just said, they're describing this as the kind of the third leg that they think is necessary. I mean, it's obviously Groupon's losing market share. They're people aren't renewing, merchants aren't renewing deals. There's a lot of pushback against the 50% or more margin that they're taking. So, the three pieces, just to recap, is the daily deal piece, which is where they started. Sending a daily deal to your email inbox. The Groupon Now piece, which is the location-based, mobile, find deals around you based on, where your mobile device is. And now this rewards piece, which is what they're saying is trying to drive loyalty, or that's their intention anyways. So the more you go to a business, the more you get as a consumer. I don't think it's going to work. That's my personal feeling on it. I think that, the big issue with this is that, from the way I've read that they've described this is that, so they basically say, look, if you spend, $25, you get a $10, kind of voucher or whatever, but that $10 goes completely to Groupon, like all of it. It's not a 50-50 split with the merchant. It's 100% to Groupon.
Really?
Yeah. So all the onus is on the merchant to basically make sure that they're putting the right controls for their business, so they're not going to lose on this. I think that's a lot of it's a lot of work for merchants, and I just don't see them going for it.
It's this is supposed to drive loyalty, isn't it? So this is supposed to bring people back and back and back, because they realize that with Groupon, doing a discount is usually it's discount hunters, which I don't think that this is a that's a class of people, right? We're all looking for great deals, and that obviously doesn't engender loyalty. Now, the Groupon Now is, was supposed to then just say, instead of waiting for 4 days for the Groupon the group buying to actually click in with enough people, these are deals that are happening right now that you can go and redeem right now. And those are two different businesses than the loyalty program, which is to get somebody to come back. I think that this is a need in the industry. They need to do something, because they're realizing.
And I think that's where Level Up and Mogul, that we're going to talk about later, I think are both trying to solve that. But the other thing that I noticed in this announcement is there was also some comment from one of their executives. I can't remember the guy's name now, about the integration with Foursquare into Groupon and pushing the integration of Groupon into Foursquare. Let me take that back. Yep. The other way, and so pushing Groupon deals based on when you check into Foursquare, and he basically said it's a necessary evil, is how he described it in the press release. And I'm like, really?
To partner with Foursquare?
Yeah, a necessary evil.
Wow.
And I thought that was kind of interesting, that language in the press release. So
necessary evil. Well, I mean, Foursquare only
Groupon's in a lot of trouble. I gotta say, my feeling is there's a world of hurt yet to come on Groupon, and it's a sinking ship.
Yes. Well, I'm not going to... I mean, if you've been watching the show for 45 episodes, you know my view on the coupon economy. And I don't believe in it. I believe that there's a need for it. I just don't believe in a company like Groupon. Just name something. When you raise $1 billion and $920 million goes to the founders and doesn't go into the company, you're building an infrastructure of 6,000 people that are salespeople. You haven't turned a profit. You're losing money hand over foot. And... You can't go public on that. You should never go public on that. And anybody who buys a stock, unless you're a founder, is a moron. And this company is really not a real company. They might be making lots of money, but until they turn $1 profit, they're not a company. And so they're scrambling here. And I wish the best for them. But I also wish the best for companies that are the retail companies that are getting rooked by them. So
yeah. So, anyways,
they're innovating.
Groupon Now and Groupon Rewards. There you go.
Nice. Okay, let's move on to the second one before we get sued.
Let's move on.
All right. So from that, which is a business, to what we've seen a lot about, and I think Tech News Today, which is a Leo Laporte twit show, calls this what we're going on right now is the patent wars. And they have this, like the CNN patent wars, bum, 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 bum. Because here's and that's usually between the big guys like Motorola and Google and Microsoft and Apple and HP. But so HopStop, they secured a location-based service transit routing patent, and they say that we're going to be friendly.
Yeah, they say they're going to be friendly. You know, and I think this is an area. I was actually when I was in London this week. I was talking to another guy who's got a startup that's in this exact space, this kind of location-based applications around transit and subways and other things. And you know, it's an area that not a lot of companies are in yet. And so HopStop has got this patent. It's patent number 7,957,871. Methods and apparatuses for navigation in urban environments.
I love the specificity of that.
Yeah, you gotta like that.
So specific, the actual patent so broad, right? It's like that's a split in patents.
Yeah. So the big thing is, I mean, these guys have surprisingly a lot of users, and really what it is, you know, it helps you track, you know, where you are relative to transit, you know, buses arriving, streetcars, subways arriving, you know, timing, all these issues. But the real utility here is the ability to serve ads into the system, and the ability of those ads to reach people based on frequencies and time of day and, you know, commonalities and systems. So if you're a guy who's, you know, always waiting for that subway at, you know, 3:30 in the afternoon on a Thursday, and there's a bunch of other people that are doing that, you know, there's a certain, you know, advertiser that wants to reach you at that time potentially, and so they have a lot of data around that, and I think that's really where, you know, some of the uniqueness of this comes.
Well, I wonder. So, I mean, would the TTC in Toronto use this, or, you know, I was just in San Francisco, and BART and all the public transportation, and Google uses this as well. Like Google Maps will tell you when the next bus is coming and how to get from A to B. You know, so does that? I would assume that infringes on this patent.
You got to think.
Yeah.
You got to think so. But, you know, they had some data in here. It says 72% of HopStop visitors using the service return within 24 hours of their previous visit, and 37% of visitors use the service 25 times or more per month. So obviously the people who are using this are using it a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and I think so if you're serving ads or doing search advertising, or even, you know, connections to transit, you know, billboard kind of advertising, and kind of want to tie that to the mobile platform, I think there's some good synergies here.
Well, what I like about it is that Joe Meyer, who's the CEO, said that it's not HopStop is not the kind of company that uses lawsuits to get ahead. Instead, they're going to actually do some innovation and continue innovating. And he says it's good to have a patent to defend against lawsuits, but he's not going to go on the offense, which I'm hoping is true.
Right.
So methods and apparatuses for navigation in urban environments. Right. Methods and apparatus. Yeah. That's the problem with the patent office. But, I mean, if they invented it, they deserve it. But it's just so broad. That's all. HopStop, you can check them out. And if you haven't, I mean, this is apparently a top 10 app on App Store, top 25 on the Android Marketplace, or a top 10 on Amazon App Store. And they're building a BlackBerry version coming soon. Who knew?
There you go.
Good on them. HopStop, getting a patent on routing. Not the router routing, but routing or routing, whatever it is. Third story, you know, this is an interesting one because it brings in a whole bunch of partners together. This is GetGlue partnering with Entertainment Weekly and The Gap and HTC, and I mean, throw in the sync, and you've got a great partnership here.
Yeah, you know, why I pulled this one out, I think it's interesting because, you know, we've talked about GetGlue before. We've talked about, you know, this concept of checking into content, you know, checking into TV shows while you're watching them, unlocking, you know, special stickers and special curated content and things like that. But this is an actual partnership between the world of checking into television shows and content and physical retail locations in form of The Gap.
Right.
And so this is Entertainment Weekly has basically said, look, you know, around the fall TV premiere season, which is, you know, we're in the middle of still right now, kind of thing. You know, we want to encourage people to check out these new shows. So, you know, check out these new shows, watch them, you know, GetGlue, you know, check into the shows on GetGlue. And if you do that, you unlock special stickers and you unlock 40% off at the Gap.
It's crazy.
Yeah, on any single item at the Gap. So, you know, I think that's, you know, I think it's a good one. I actually think it's, you know, it's a good synergy between trying to drive usage of the content check-in platforms and, you know, rewarding people with something that's, you know, perhaps has some real value.
So measurable, but 40% off is an insane amount. But the Gap, I don't know about you, but somehow I got on the Gap and Banana Republic's mailing list, and I get an email a day saying, hey, 40% off, 40% off, 40% off of everything. I think that's the new norm, 40% off for those guys. You really know what the value of the clothes are if you're getting 40% off all the time.
Well, remember, it's the same company, you know, they're all the same, right? Old Navy, Gap, Neiman Marcus, right? So, I mean, at the end of the day, the stuff that they sell at the Gap is really like just Old Navy with, you know, a few extra stitches.
That's right. Yeah, you get 9 more washes between them, right? Yeah. And then it kind of goes up in incremental. But this really is a
it shows you extra and out.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty soon you're going to be able to you'll be able to check into, you know, the clothes that you're wearing and get discounts for those kind of things as well. But this is really a 40%. I think is a steep discount for checking into a television show. And I always wonder about these things. Why the Gap would do something like this? Because who's getting the branding here? Which is the big thing. It's like I use GetGlue to check into Terra Nova, and I get a 40% discount on the Gap. But who's getting the real branding here? Right? It's Terra Nova or ABC or NBC, whoever owns the show, right? So it's always like the Gap has always been like this. Remember with Foursquare, it said, you know, the first they were giving away 100,000 pairs of jeans to people who checked into to the Gap stores. That was a really good marketing ploy, you'd assume. But this, I just don't. You know, it's great that they're partnering. I just don't get why the Gap would be involved here. It just seems like they're giving away too much.
I think at the end of the day, as you said, I mean, this 40% is really just available anyways. So it's probably just an additional place for them to put this offer and you know, sync it up with you know, some television brands, and it really doesn't cost the Gap anything else. Because I think at the end of the day, if you look at the sticker and the instructions that you get and all that, you can probably just walk into the Gap store and say, you know, GetGlue 40% off, and the person at the cash will just give it to you, right? Yeah. I mean, that's probably what, you know, I don't know. I haven't tried it, but
well, I was thinking that it's like here 40% off the Gap, so they just send you Old Navy, to Old Navy, right? And it's full price at Old Navy, which is 40% off the Gap, anyways. Hey, you won 40% off. Just go to Old Navy. Well, I mean, good on GetGlue and good on Entertainment Weekly, and HTC's involved in that somehow, and the Gap is the one who has to pay for it all. That's the way it sounds like to me. So good on them.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? Here is our fourth story is Flickr.
Yes.
Kind of getting involved for the first time in a long time in this space. This is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we haven't heard a lot from Flickr, and you know, Flickr's one of those companies, you know, that's part of the Yahoo portfolio. Been there for a while now, and so they came out this week, and I guess they've been kind of watching very closely what's been going on with Instagram and Color and Eve and all these guys that we've been talking about, you know, they said, look, you know, we've got to focus on mobile. We've got to make this a bigger part of our play. And so this week they came out and they announced an Android app that effectively lets you, you know, shoot and share photos, you know, add visual filters like you can in Instagram. So the real news here is that this is an Android app and Instagram doesn't have one yet.
Right.
So they're basically going out and saying, you know, let's try and get there before they do, and you know, see what kind of market share we can grab.
So I was at GigaOM's Mobilize conference earlier this week in San Francisco, right. And Kevin Systrom, who is the CEO of Instagram, was on stage with Om Malik, and some staggering statistics. You wonder why this is so important. You know, I don't know how they're going to make money, which is, you know, above and beyond. The biggest thing for me is how are these guys going to make money? because they have over 10 million users now on Instagram. And that is a growth curve that is almost concave. It's faster than anything that we've ever seen before. I think the growth here is rivaling the early days or outpacing the early days of Twitter. I mean, 10 million is almost as big as Foursquare, right? So you think about the growth that these guys are doing. There's 6 employees at Instagram. 6!
Wow.
Servicing 10 million people. But the big thing is that Instagram is signing up a new user every second. A new user every second. And they're uploading 26, I think it's 26 photos a second.
It's crazy.
A new peak upload, a record of 26 photos per second. So how big is this opportunity? I mean, Instagram has to be there, and so does Flickr. But there was the conversation they asked. Ohm obviously asked about when an Android version is coming, and said soon. But with 10 million users on iPhone and this massive growth, and iPhone 5 due to launch probably on Tuesday. I mean, the sky's the limit. And 41% of the entire population of North America or the U.S. saying that they're going to buy an iPhone 5. Like that.
Yeah, but you know, I think in Flickr's case, you know, and I agree. I mean, this is a massive market and opportunity. I mean, but the Yahoo guys basically, you know, if you read down in kind of the fine print on this announcement, they basically said, look, you know, mobiles is our new focus with this. Flickr is a part of that. You know, at Yahoo, we have 680 million people who visit us every month.
Yeah.
680 million. Yeah. Okay, that's like not 10 million. That's 680 million.
Pretty crazy.
If we can get, you know, some of those people are on Android, I'm telling you right now.
Just a few.
Just a few of them.
Well,
you know, if we can get them, you know, hooked on Flickr before Instagram comes out with theirs, you know, we'll take that. So that's basically what they're saying. So they're going out and doing this. They also launched in the same announcement this week. Flickr announced another app, social sharing app called Photo Session.
Yes.
And so this is all about sharing your photos, like vacation slideshow kind of thing, with, you know, people that you want to share them with. And so this is all like real time. You know, has a chat function. It's kind of like a scaled down version of, you know, Skype or WebEx or something like that, specifically targeted at sharing photos and commenting on them. And you can actually doodle on top of the photos and put notes and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, kind of interesting.
Well, you know,
it's an iPhone app.
And it's an iPhone app? Yeah.
Yeah, iPhone and iPad.
Well, I just looked up, and you know, just for scale and purposes, is that Flickr was the darling, obviously, before Yahoo got their claws onto it, and hasn't done much with it. But still, to this day, at least the most recent statistics I've had since this is in February of 2011, it's they're getting 3,000 photos a minute being uploaded on Flickr. So that's the scale of this, right?
Right.
So you go from you know, 120 photos a minute. Is that right? Yeah, 120 photo minutes to 3,000 photos per minute, and they do basically 1.1 billion photos per year. So they're over about 6.5 billion photos that have been uploaded to Flickr. And here's the challenge that I have, is that they're still not making money, right? Like that's the thing. So you know, somebody's got to show me how Instagram's going to do it, but Flickr really has an opportunity, and they should have been here a long time ago. So they're obviously going after the weakness in Instagram, which is the fact that there isn't an Android app. So good for them. See how this plays out. Huge scale.
Yep.
Huge scale. 3,000 photos a minute. All right. Whoa. Let's go to Sweden, shall we?
Sweden. I like Sweden.
Steve, have you ever wanted to deliver packages for a living? Have you ever wanted to make sure that you could see the joy on people's faces as they
you know, well, I did have a paper route when I was a kid.
Oh, you did. That was as close as it came, right?
That's as close as it came.
Well, the Postal Service in Sweden thinks that you want to basically carry some virtual goods around, don't they?
They do. So this is the Swedish Postal Service, in conjunction with their agency, which I'm gonna totally botch the pronunciation of this, but I'm gonna give it a shot. Axtam Holst, something like that.
Very good.
Is their name of their agency, I think. So they've come up with an iPhone app, and a challenge that they're calling Sweden's Safest Hands. And so basically what they've done is they've created 42 virtual packages, and they'd like the consumer public to see if you can deliver them without, breaking them, dropping them, whatever, and be the first one to get it to its destination. And so what happens is, if you have this app, you get this virtual package sent to you on the app, and then it starts pushing you directions, and other people have received the same package, and you're in a race to kind of get it to where they want it to go. And you're running around the city or biking around the city or whatever with this little app moving around and trying to deliver this package. And if you're the first to get it there, you actually get what's in the package, and the packages are valued between 300 and 5,000 Swedish kroners. So I think it's kind of cool. Like, so every day there's I think at 6 a.m., 12 p.m., 6 p.m. There's a new package, so 3 packages a day. This goes till October the 9th, so it's still running right now. I'm not sure what the real value of this is. I think it's, maybe it's about building the brand. Maybe it's about saying, hey, Swedish Postal Service we're still here, we're still relevant. I think this is something every postal service is trying to deal with in the digital world, and it's an interesting way to put it out there.
You know what? On first blush, I'd say this would be a great game, a great app for any retailer that was trying to drive any kind of activity or awareness in this space. I don't get the Postal Service angle on this. I mean, it's innovative and it's great, but and I think that this is kind of, we're going to start to see a lot of these types of games coming down the road. But quite frankly, I look at this and I say innovative, but why the Postal Service? Like, is that supposed to be brand development for the Postal Service?
Right.
But I don't know what I'm supposed to do at the end of it. What I want is a call to action. Like, the way you qualify for this is if you send a package or something that drives business to the Postal Service. But to do this, I mean, maybe it's a brilliant location-based game, and I'm not doubting that. I like the way that they've done this.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rob. I think it's, but all I think this is brand, and this is just trying to say, hey, we can play digital too, and hopefully it means that they're inspiring people, or they're at least seeing who's out there, and how many people download this app and take it up, and can we use that as some kind of measurement to say we need to be there.
Can we send them a letter?
Yeah,
we'll send a letter to everybody who downloads this app. I just one of the best ways would be to qualify is that if you send a package, obviously, or you receive a package and there's a QR code or a barcode or a 2D code or something that activates the game for you, and or activates a credit that allows you to play the game or something to that extent. But I like the premise, but the open nature of this kills it for me. I don't.
Anyway, we'll put a link up to it so people can check it out.
Yeah, so. Sweden's Safest Hands, Swedish Post. Well, good on them. All right, so those were our 5 stories, but we have one more. 6, the new 5. Yeah. This is very interesting, and Neiman Marcus teaming up with Foursquare, which it was bound to happen.
It was bound to happen. Well, I mean, a lot of high-end luxury brands have been experimenting. We've talked about Jimmy Choo and Foursquare. We've talked about Louis Vuitton, and Jaipang, and they've also done Foursquare stuff. So, Neiman Marcus, it was just, about time. So this actually just happened yesterday, I believe. It was launched on. So we're doing this on October the 2nd. This happened on October the 1st. And so what they did was they took 15 Nancy Gonzalez clutch purses.
I've always wanted one.
Which retail for $1,400 US dollars, that is. And they hid them in secret locations around the nation between noon and 4 p.m. yesterday. And then basically people just went to their local Neiman Marcus store, check in on Foursquare, and if there happened to be one in that store, you would be given some clues to try and find it. And if there wasn't one, then you were given a chance to participate in a contest to win one. And so in total, they gave away 56 of these purses. Yeah.
So 2 things that are shocking from this thing. One is that somebody would actually pay $1,400 for a clutch purse, not a real purse, a clutch.
Yeah,
called a clutch. It's like under the arm clutch, right? $1,400. No wonder they're giving away, because nobody's probably buying these anyways. But that's just my. The second thing that's shocking is that, hey, wasn't Gowalla in the virtual goods business up until a couple of weeks ago? And couldn't this be a better fit for something like Gowalla than Foursquare? Because Foursquare, you just check in. Gowalla, at least you can check in and pick up a virtual good and redeem it, and there's a little bit of brand loyalty. You get a little badge.
Well, they're not there anymore. So, and by the way, this is not the first time Neiman Marcus has done something like this. They've also done similar scavenger hunt thing with Scavenger. So,
but
so obviously, you know, this is something they want to keep experimenting, keep trying. So,
well, I mean, good on them for doing it, and good on them for, you know, reducing their inventory of $1,400 bags. I think that's it's kind of crazy. I just have this kind of what was it? Pumpkin Patch Kids? Is that what they were when we were growing up?
Yeah.
Where it was like the rush, the mad rush, and I could see people
Cabbage
like,
Patch.
it's mine! What's Cabbage Patch, yeah.
Cabbage Patch, yeah.
But it's mine! And all of these people racing for that one bag and ripping it out of their hands and brawls. Keep an eye out for this. This could be fun to watch. And if you're there and it happens, get it on tape, on video.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. $1,400 for a clutch bag. I am certainly doing the wrong thing in the wrong business. Right?
Mm-hmm.
She put a bunch of leather together and call it a clutch. So those are our 6 stories. Groupon launching rewards. HopStop with their brand new patent. GetGlue partnering with everybody, including Entertainment Weekly, HTC, and The Gap, which I think The Gap's getting reamed. Flickr is competing with Instagram, or launches their Android application on Android, which is great for them. The Swedish Postal Service launches their location-based parcel delivery game. And Neiman Marcus and the Foursquare Challenge to win a $1,400 Nancy Gonzalez clutch.
Nancy Gonzalez, yeah.
Way to go, Nancy Gonzalez. Good on you for being able to charge $1,400 for a clutch. Wow. Those are the 6 stories we think are relevant for you this past week. And now we're just going to jump really quickly into the funding side and the acquisition, because a big one. You know, it took me by surprise. But
yeah, me too, because we just talked about these guys like last week.
I know. Good on them, I suppose. But here's a big guy being swallowed up by a big guy, basically, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. So Intel buys Telmap.
Yeah. So, you know, the hard part with this is we don't really know what Intel's going to do with Telmap. But, you know, Telmap's this great company out of Israel, you know, 200 or so people. The price point, apparently, and this is unconfirmed, is about $300 million in terms of what Intel paid for these guys. And so Intel has a kind of a developer's toolkit called AppUp. That the expectation is they're going to kind of come up, you know, take Telmap's functionality, bake it into a standardized set of location-based service APIs, and then kind of make those available to people who want to get into complex mapping and local search and all of that, you know, in a very simple and easy way without having to pay Google or other people, you know, reams and reams of dollars.
So $300 million buy.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, they go on to say, like, you know, that they expect to bake some of this stuff into, you know, all sorts of chips and, you know, both mobile and desktop core processing chips and all kinds of things. But I'm not sure. I mean, I'd be talking out of my head right now if I said I knew where LBS goes inside of a chip. But
well, I mean, Intel has to think about competitively, because they're, you know, they're not powering all of the devices anymore. I mean, Apple's got their own chip. And there's the Sandy Bridge chip. Now I'm talking out of my butt too, but all they're trying to do is they got to figure out a way to differentiate. I'm not sure buying a mapping company is gonna do that. But can you do maps on a chip? Is that something? Mock? If it is, we just invented it here.
Yes, yeah.
Maps on a chip.
I don't know.
So let's gracefully move away from this one where we don't know what we're talking about into something that we know a little bit more, which is massive damage. Closing an angel round or a seed round, which is great news because it's a Toronto company.
Yeah, a little company out of Toronto. You know, the Cito brothers. These guys have been building all sorts of cool apps and interesting companies. And so they've got this kind of location-based game that's called I can't
Please Stay Calm.
Yeah, Please Stay Calm. That's what it is now. Yeah, so they got a little bit of money, $325K from a bunch of locals, mostly individuals, guys from the Toronto scene, and I think this is great because we talked the other week about kind of the growth of kind of location-based gaming, and even the Swedish Postal Service gaming app. I mean, I think there's a lot of space yet for people to get involved in location-based applications and marketing that are purely gaming, whether it's playing Mafia Wars, or you're playing Please Stay Calm, or playing political games in terms of figuring out which party's going to win the next election, to whatever. I think it's a huge opportunity, and so it's good to see guys getting money in that space.
Well, and if you want some more information about Ken and Massive Damage and Please Stay Calm, I had the great pleasure. He's the only guy that I've interviewed 3 times on Untethered.tv. So he and his brother built a product called iMockups, which is an iPad app, and he made over $300,000 on that one app, and realized that he didn't feel like he was doing the right thing. So they started Massive Damage. Please Stay Calm's their first game. And the full interview is online at Untethered.tv, but he's the only guy that I've interviewed 3 times because he's so active.
Just great guys, too.
Yeah, really, really big fan. And it's a recent interview. It was last week. So go and take a look at it on Untethered.tv if you want a little bit more information about them. But they raised $325,000, and I couldn't be happier for a guy like Ken and his brother to do some good stuff, especially the Toronto scene. So Intel buys Telmap, Massive Damage. The Cito brothers closed $325,000, and that's it for the funding.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. Let's talk about the product. Our product of the week is a company called Mogul. Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, I just like the name. I don't know. I'm not sure what it means or where it comes from, but I just like it. It sounds good, Mogul.
Eat out, cash in.
Yeah. So this is a California company. Solana Beach, actually, so not your typical San Francisco company. And so what they've done is they basically said, look, this Groupon thing isn't really working, and there's still some room there for improvement on the model. We're going to give it a shot. And so they basically gone out and said, we're going to combine saving money with having fun, kind of Foursquare plus Groupon plus loyalty, reward people. And so the premise here is give customers, an experience where they get 10% cash back on meals, for, kind of visiting their favorite restaurants. They add a kind of a social magnification, kind of gamification piece, Foursquare type piece, where they have kind of monthly jackpots for the people who go there the most, kind of thing, get extra rewards. Then they also have a kind of charitable piece that they built into this, which I think is really cool. So you can donate a meal to Feeding America San Diego for every $20 you spend spent by a Mogul customer. So I think that's really cool. And again, right at the moment, this is very local. It's very much San Diego area restaurants and such. But interesting. We'll see whether it gets any traction. But it seems to be getting traction right now in the local market. I mean, these guys, I think they launched in August, and they've got about 10,000 or so users, from what I can tell.
Yeah, I like these. I like this kind of thing, and it's hard to criticize anybody who's they have a goal of 8,000 meals by November 1st, and they're about 75% complete with a month left. So over 6,000 meals have been donated. So you have to spend $20 or more to get a meal, and you just start to think about this. And I think that's one of the things that I love, the local nature about this. It's so local. And it's for one cause. It's hard to replicate that across a large country like the U.S. and the world. But I really like this concept. I think that it's simple. It's easy. It's very easy to use. You just sign up. But again, it's local. So if you're in San Diego or the San Diego area,
give it a try. I think it's cool, and they've got some capital behind them too. They raised 2.4 million.
2.4 million
from Avalon.
My God, 2.4 million.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just give the 2.4 million to the needy. Buy them all food. Yeah, sorry. I don't know how they make money. So again, it's kind of, I guess they get a referral fee, I would assume, from the restaurants that are part of this, or the restaurants pay for access to it.
It's from their, exactly.
I think that this is so they got a business owner. So go to mogul.com, MOGL.com, and take a look at it if you're in the area. And if you actually use this, let us know. Is there any other part? Are they available in any other city? San Diego, Los Angeles, and Orange County. So Southern California.
Southern California, yeah.
SoCal. It's so local. Guess it? Southern California local base. Oh my God. We got to end this soon. So it's a good thing we're onto the resource, Asif. And I heard a rumor that this whole mobile location-based services is about to take off. I don't know. I heard this rumor.
Well, apparently it's going to take off in the UK, and so I actually pulled this resource out because I just really wanted to follow up with all the amazing folks I met in London this past week, and give them some further data to support what we were talking about. So this new report from a group called Kinetic Worldwide basically says that half of UK consumers have now used location-based services via their mobiles, and 45% say that location-based social media already affects their decision-making while they're out and about. So those are some pretty strong numbers. And they also go on to say here a couple other stats with regards to their awareness of Foursquare awareness is behind that of Facebook and Google location services in the UK. And I heard that loud and clear as well from people in the audience at the event.
So the more people know that know about Facebook and Google as opposed to
absolutely. Foursquare is nowhere near what it is in North American market there.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. But but location service are definitely a big piece. Obviously, these guys are saying almost 50%. So
yeah, it strikes me that it's taken off like when it goes mainstream. 50% is pretty mainstream. I don't know. It's certainly that's quite a high percentage, but it's they say that 67% of consumers are aware of the service. That's Facebook. Yeah, Facebook Places. Did they kill Facebook Places?
Yeah.
And it's still 7% of consumers are aware of the service. And 39% for Google Latitude?
Right.
Come on. Google Latitude. I thought Google Latitude was
good too. It's got to be successable somewhere.
Oh my God.
So, but the big driver over in the UK market obviously is O2, right? Yeah. So when you look at that, they're at 6.5 million people on O2 more now. Yeah. Right,
yeah, that's right.
That's a huge number.
Well, it's even 24%.
And they expect that number is going to be 10 million by the end of this year.
Yeah, that's pretty big. Yeah, but I think even 24% for Twitter Places, and that's the most obscure thing, right? Next to Goala, 24% for Twitter Places, 23% for Foursquare, 5% for Doppler, 5% for Goala, and 2% for Looped Mix.
Right.
It's pretty awesome. Well, that's a good resource, so we'll include that. That's mobile location-based services set to go mainstream in the UK, based on this study from
Kinetic. Yeah.
All right, we'll include that link. Just look right up there. And if you're listening, sorry, you just got to go to the website. But just do a search for mobile location-based services set to go mainstream in the UK. You'll find something, 100%. Is that it?
That's it.
Man, that's it. I thought there would be much more, because of the travels. But we covered quite a bit here, and I think that, 6 stories is a good amount. But a lot of it around the same thing, around certainly the emerging market that we're seeing. So a little bit more innovation around how to use these tools to drive brand awareness and product sales, which I like, seems to be the theme here today, which is good. And you are in the city.
I'm not going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere?
No, I'm staying around town this week.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a miracle, and I will be too.
I know.
So we'll be able to do this at the regular time next week, the way I figure it, for episode number 46. And again, as always, if you guys have anything that you'd like covered, or if you got an idea for a company that you'd like covered, or if you got a resource to get some funding, if you got an idea that we should cover, let us know. Reach out to me at untetheredgmail.com or Asif at thelbma.com, and we will bring it on the show. We promise. We promise we'll bring it on the show.
Absolutely, yeah. Please contact us.
And Asif, that's it. I guess we'll see you next week for episode number 46. Is that about right?
You got it? Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go watch the end of the Phillies-Cardinals baseball game and finish off the evening. Thank you guys for watching, wherever you may be.
Who are you cheering for, though?
I don't really care. Phillies, how's that? My Yankees lost this afternoon.
All Cardinals over here.
Yeah. It's sad. It's sad. All right. Let's wrap it up. I'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next week. Steve, thanks for doing this, as always. Really appreciate your time, man. This has been great.
Yeah. Lots of fun.
And we'll see you next week for episode number 46 of This Week in Location-Based Marketing. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Bye.